Hello again, this is Chad Broshears, the founder and creator of Go Figure Holistic Personal Training, as well as education called Ascending to Total Maturity, and the Human Manual, the Solution, exercise. There's various different things that I've been up to, but today I'm working on the following in the series of words that manipulate, and to shed light on another word that people are voluntarily or involuntarily manipulated by. So the word for today is guilt. So as you'll come to expect of me, I will find the definition and then work on finding its root of origin, and then giving you something that's workable from there. So now, this one's definition is brought from dictionary.com, and it's guilt, the noun, and it's the fact or state of having committed an offense, crime, violation, or wrong, especially against moral or penal law. Culpability. He admitted his guilt. 2. A feeling of responsibility or remorse for some offense, crime, wrong, etc., whether real or imagined. And then number 3, conduct involving the commission of such wrongs, and etc. And that's to live a life of guilt. And then there's a term called sense of guilt. It was first recorded in 1690. The date on that's actually kind of inconclusive because I got 3 different dates, all of them the 1600s, but there are like 3 different dates on that. But regardless, it's still within that timeline for the term sense of guilt. But it's actually well written about in the Bible, as well as in Quran and other religious teachings. Now let me be clear also, Buddhism is not a religion. It's a way of life, but they do not claim a religion, so I exclude Buddhism whenever I speak about religious teachings. Okay, so with that, I'm not out to actually take the definition away from the word guilt. What I am out to do is empower you whenever someone uses the term or uses the intention to impregnate you with a concept you will come to find as the word guilt. So an example that was given to me earlier today was there's a relationship where one person had did something against the other person's agreement with that person, and this is really vague, but it's purposeful because this person may also watch the video, and I want to honor her identity and as well as our conversation. So anyhow, so the person had did something against the other person's agreement with them, and then it's been over a year that she's carrying this thing around with her, and the man who committed this thing, this breaking of their agreement, is bringing up, look how good I've been for the full year, or look how good I've been, how can you still be upset by? And that's an intention to impregnate the term guilt into another person. Now, for me, whatever I like to do with people whenever I talk about this is just to get them to understand that the intention for the word guilt is to leverage for a reaction. Whatever that is, if it's inborn, meaning that you kind of find a way of guilting yourself about something you've done, or if it's externally born, like somebody else makes you feel like you're guilty for something. You have to understand that the majority of people that live in the industrialized countries, especially in predominantly America, that's the one that I have the most experience in, they live in what I call the wilds of suburbia. They lacked any guidance as we were experiencing life, and as we were growing up and you have these different experiences. Most people are functioning in trying to keep up with others for their status quo, or they're functioning in an insecurity of their own, so they're not really out to guide, nor are they really even capable of guiding in certain areas, especially whenever emotional maturity comes into play. Very few people have the capacity to guide in that, because emotions are something a lot of people in America seem to avoid working with, unless it's the more fluffy or, embracing and warm and socially accepted emotions that I call the hooked on happy emotions. Like as if there was an emotion that was a drug, happy would pretty much be a drug in our society, born with optimism and all the rest of this stuff. But in our society, we don't really have anybody to guide us in the emotions that we have. Like guilt is an emotion. It entices an emotion in us. It's not really an emotion, but it entices one. It causes us a lot of the negative feelings, are the ones that we usually shun away from, especially whenever you're functioning under the concept of being hooked on happy. If you're hooked on happy, you're going to avoid certain things because it's not as pleasant to deal with. When you do start dealing with some of these negative things, by the way, hooked on happy is almost always profiled with the optimist, not the pessimist. By the way, they're both the same thing. It's just how the person chooses they're going to view their world. And also, in my opinion, that person's also the bigger or greater liar of the two, because they're not willing to tell the truth about what they're experiencing, and they only want the world to see the positive things, which you can't have positive without negative. So whoever fooled the others into believing that is a dualistic con. You can't have it. It's impossible. And if you stay focused on one thing for too long, you defeat your ability to grow, because you're not seeing a big picture. You're not going to grow in a balanced direction. You may still grow, but it's not in a balanced direction, and it actually disarms you for the way the world functions, because Mother Nature doesn't care about right or wrong, good or bad. She doesn't really have a personality like that. That's a human trait. Mother Nature just has a thrive, survive, or die kind of situation that she puts us into. Well, it's up to us to adapt to her. So as far as guilt goes, this is a great lead back into the word guilt, because with this is we have to adapt to other people and our surroundings. And a lot of people, because we're hooked on happy, we're extremely passive-aggressive as a totality in our society. We're told that we have to be nice, not be nice because you want to, but be nice because I told you to. A common parenting style. We're found in all this stuff that actually causes us to not self-express or to be fully self-expressed, which means that you suppress. And when you suppress, you stress. By the way, I promise you I'm not intending to do anything that's in a rhyming sense. This is not Chad Brochure's The Dr. Seuss Hour. It's nothing like that. Not my intention. The poet didn't know it, right? So anyhow, to get back to the term guilt and how to work with and work through and work beyond, is first understand that as a truth, we are all trying to make it. Now, what it is defined differently between each individual based off their concept of what success is. And everyone has a unique idea of success. Even if you put 1,000 business people into the room where money is their success, continue to boil down the idea of what money brings them and how much money and all the rest of these variables, you find out that people really, they all have a unique idea of success. They're not the same. Yours is not the same as mine, nor is anyone else's. There's all little subtle nuances that make our initial or an absolute customized idea of what success is. So with all that being said, guys and gals, is what success, let me revert that. Guilt is we all want to make it. We all want to contribute to each other inherently, but some people get directed in another way, which is towards, success at someone else's expense, not success with someone else. So there's a subtle difference in the scenario of how it's spoken, but yet in its experience, if you don't know already, I'll tell you the truth. The only way to actually truly succeed in this life is with others. If you believe you can make it without others, then all you have to do is start thinking about what it takes to live in our society. It's even to use the bathroom. Somebody built the toilet. Somebody manufactured the toilet paper. Somebody has the water pumping to your home. Somebody's dealing with the septic. If you have your own septic system, somebody put it in the ground. If you put it in the ground, somebody built the container. Somebody built the actual tank. There's a lot of different factors that other people contributed to you. So if that helps you gauge understanding of what it means to be successful in this life, get that it has to be with others, not at the cost of others. Because if you start developing your life at the cost of others, others will want to see you fail, more so than people who just desire that they be the leader and then want to see you fail because you took action first. People want to see you fail because we have a concept called spite. So with that, people often like to infect others with guilt out of spite. because of all kinds of different actions. But regardless, with the example earlier, look at what all I've done for the last year. That's to impregnate this woman and disempower her from her position of, one, she is harboring spite and her because of how she feels she was inflicted from what she experienced, and that's completely understandable. To meet her with compassion, not judgment, is the desired direction that will help everyone grow. So anyhow, this video is designed to just give you a better insight on the word guilt. It's not to rewrite it. It's to give you workability when somebody else intends to impregnate you or implant the concept of guilt in you to get you or to elicit a reaction out of you. A lot of religions are really good about guilting people in a specific direction. Now, if that is to get you to stop doing something that's harmful for others, it can be done in such a way that's kind of justifiable in a sense. That's kind of debatable. But it still causes you, in a way, to kind of obey and be decent to other people, but it's done through a dictatorship, rather than accepting from where you're coming from and to offer you another opportunity to see beyond and to grow up, mature, in an inspired direction, which to me is always the most effective direction. Inspire. Don't dictate. Dictate is a parenting style and a governmental style that I do not believe to be all that effective. I mean, if you look at governments, any government that's a dictatorship doesn't seem to be as effective, and people are very suppressed in that government. But in a conversation called democracy, although finding real democracy is not as easy as you would like it to be, or as at least I would like it to be. I can't project onto you, or I won't project onto you. I could, I'm just not going to. But a democracy is a freedom of thought, which means that you're not shifted in any way to view things differently, but to ask to share your opinion. And that's not really what we necessarily have, but it's a whole lot more functional than a dictatorship where you're just told what to do. Your parents in your earlier stage of life was a dictatorship for most people. Do this or else. Kind of a dictatorship. Anyhow, I'm going to shorten the video up. I'll expand on this a bit more. I hope you guys are enjoying this series of videos, and I will happily expand on any of the things that you may have, questions you may have, perspectives you'd like to get involved with, and all of those wonderful things as time goes on. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it did bring something of workability and value to you, because it has absolutely done that for me in my life. This is my path to peace. Not my path to happiness. I've already got that. That was here the moment I took my first breath. But my path to peace on the planet is to find it first in myself and then offer through inspiration to others. So with that, even if this message wasn't quite clear, I intend that my messages will become clearer and clearer as the videos go on. So thank you guys very much for listening, for watching, and for any interaction that you have with me. I value it, because without you, there is no me. And that term is Ubuntu. It's an African term. So again, without you, there is no me. So Ubuntu, my friends. Have a great day.